Good afternoon, sports fans from all around the globe. I am your host, Jeff Dawson, East Coast Sports Investors, and this is your closing bell for April 5th, Tuesday, 2022. 2 days away from MLB. 2 days away from the Masters and Tiger Woods teeing off. Yes, it's official. An action packed day today. Myself and Scott started the morning with our normal breakfast bankroll, and then at 1:30 to 2:15, B2B at beating the bookie, Rob himself from Florida. Geez, both Scott and Rob from Florida. Rob will be at the Panthers game, so we got a Panthers and a Lightning fan. So I might be battling here. I think both of these two teams could do very, very well in the playoffs. I actually think the numbers say the Panthers are coming out, but Scott might say different as the Lightning are your defending Stanley Cup champs. And speaking of Tampa, the Rays, who Scott had talked about trading Mr. Meadows to Tigers, said not so fast. And they signed Manuel Margot pending a physical. 2 years, $19 million. So just plug and play. That's all they do. But today, what we're looking to do is to get you to the winner's circle to cash some tickets in the NBA and NHL. And OMG, he has risen. The one, the only Mr. Billy Hewlin. Good afternoon, Billy. This guy has more irons in the fire than forged fire itself that I watch during the week. But I love you to death. Give Rebecca a big hug for me. But let's bring him on. From the Palm Tree State himself, the one and only Mr. Scott E. Webb. Good afternoon, Scott.
How you doing, Jeff?
Well, I like to say at this point, I've head spinning like Carrie and my hair stood up like Don King. It's been one of those days, but that's what we signed up for.
It's a busy week, man. I mean, this is the way it goes. I haven't even written the stuff I wanted to write yet about what I'm gonna do, and what you should look for in the first week of the damn season. I got to ready to start doing that, and then I'm like, you know what? I better go look at some other stuff, and found some good information on pitch counts and where these guys are starting the week, and what you should expect out of these guys. So some pretty helpful information, I think, for what to look forward to on Thursday with the games. But all that being said, shit, we still got NBA to go tonight, so let's get some people to the window, and I think we got some hockey games and all kind of fun stuff.
I have to just ask you this. At 8 o'clock tonight, I will be over my friend's house as we partake in the $2,500 entry fee for the Super and the NFBC. We have the 15th pick out of 15. So we have 15 and 16. And, picking 15, 16, and then, you don't pick again till 45, 46. Obviously, you're going to need a yellow sticker. Some people go pocket aces there. With DeGrom out of the mix, and pitchers now slide even further, and they get pushed up here. What the current ADP is, and again, if you're picking 15 and 16 and the guy's ADP is 27, 28, obviously he's not going to make it back to you. So we're talking pitchers, and Walker Buehler is not going to make it to us. So then we go down the next tier. And one, you talked about speed, and this gentleman's speed was up 2 or 3 miles an hour in spring training. If I had to ask you, and I know we talk winning games, I know that's our job here, getting people to the window, and that's what we're going to do today. We're going to get people to the window. But in fantasy, who would you rather have? And I'm going to give you the two names, Giolito or Shane Bieber.
That's a pretty tough one right there. I think that Bieber's coming off an injury, so That bothers me a little bit. But Bieber's the better pitcher. So if you want to roll the dice and go and say, hey, um, I'm going to go with the better pitcher, then there you go. But I don't think you're going to have any issues with Giolito injury wise. Now, Giolito is one of those guys that when he's on, he's a great pitcher. Now, I've never thought of him as a true ace kind of pitcher. Bieber's more of an ace kind of guy. Bieber's going to go get you 9, 10 strikeouts every time he goes out there. He's not going to walk anybody. He's not going to give up very many hits. He's not going to give up very many runs. He's not going to get blasted. But he's got to go out there. So as long as you're not worried about the injury thing, Bieber's the better guy. And Giolito, he reminds me a lot of Barrios. I think of those two guys as guys that are good pitchers. They can be number ones, but they're not aces.
It's funny you say that because I liked Barrios a few years ago in diapers. I think he's only going to keep progressing, and I think he's in the perfect spot because the team he's pitching for is going to score a lot of runs. So, like in Minnesota, he had 3, 4, 5 great innings, and then he'd poop himself. He shows flashes. Giolito, to me, shows flashes, dominance when he is on. Okay, but in the back of my head, I was sitting here on Marathon Monday last year, and everyone the whole world was on the White Sox. They were minus 140 against the Red Sox. Giolito didn't get out of the second inning, and he just has that. And for some reason, Scott, I'm a little weary of a breakdown. I don't know why. It's just in the back of my head. I think the higher upside is with Bieber. I think if he's back, I think he long term is the better investment.
Listen, Bieber was a Cy Young kind of pitcher. I mean, he's that kind of guy. He's not the okay. Well, he can be a number one on a lot of teams. No. He's better than that. So I think people kind of forget that Bieber was the breakout pitcher that was the guy, and then he got hurt. So in fantasy, you don't have to win the game. You just don't want to give up runs, and you want to get some strikeouts. You know what I mean? Like that's what you want. You want to go some innings. So my opinion is that as long as you don't really care about, I shouldn't say care. That's not the right word. As long as you don't really feel as though the injury thing rebound is a big significant problem for Bieber, then I would take him. Just letting the cat out of the bag a little bit. I'm going to be on him day one.
And you talked about wins, and wins just the cherry on top because it's impossible to predict wins. It just is. And that's why I swung who I did with in Vegas on those 3 guys. They're not number ones. They're not number twos. Some of them are 3s and 4s. And that's just how it is. I just feel more comfortable. The other name that's around, okay, so Bieber's at the end of the second round. He won't make it back to us. Right there is Giolito. I call him Jeets for some reason. That's the nickname I've always called him. But the name after him, I think, is the sexy, trendy one. That's Alcantara. Now, again, I have no problems with Alcantara. I think he's a great young pitcher. But if I'm investing $2,500 with a chance to win 20,000, and this is my only swing, this is it. This is, Sean's the guy behind all the madness. I'm just the investor and the cheering on, just adding my 2 cents. But I just think long term that Bieber, I mean, if Bueller made it to us, I guess you got to take Walker. But I like the Bieber pick.
Yeah, no question. I mean, Alcantara is great. I don't have a problem with Alcantara. But Bieber's better than both of them. So that's there's a reason why the Cleveland Guardians, holy shit, are sitting at 70, what is it, 76, 77, I think, a win projected total. and it's not because they can score runs, for God's sakes. They do have a very talented player and one of the best players in all of baseball, in Jose Ramirez, but they don't got nothing else. I mean, there's a zero. I'm 100% zero on offense. So it's going to suck for all these pitchers, but those pitchers aren't bad. And if you remember, when they were actually pretty good and they had a few hitters on their team, they still had to pitch. And that's what made them good and dominant, and then the White Sox took over, and now the Twins and everybody else has kind of passed them a little bit. And that's just because they didn't put any money back into the offense. They still got pitchers. They got good relief pitchers. They got that close guy that comes out and just throws 100 miles an hour out of the bullpen, and that Kasarnik guy or whatever his name is, Kasarnicek or whatever. I think of him as the guy that pitched for that movie team. Charlie Sheen played. He reminds me of that
Major League.
Major League, yeah. Should have put my damn Major League hat on. I would have invited that team.
All right, so let me bring up the board, and shout out to anyone that watched the Masters with myself and B2B.
There's a lot of viewers.
Almost up to 1,000 viewers. God bless you guys. Could use a little support here in the morning, afternoon, and evenings, but we'll get to that. But thanks to everyone watching and listening today and throughout. Without you guys, we wouldn't be here, so we thank you. So let's see if we can pull up the screen. All righty, Scotty, there's your board for the NBA tonight. Take it away.
Well, this morning, I talked about the OKC game in Portland, and I played that at 3.5 this morning. So that's the first play that I was on. And then, so going into this afternoon, I decided that Cleveland Orlando game, it looks to me like it's probably a good way to think about these are leans right here that I'm telling you about with this one. I like it to go under the 221. My number is like 211, 210, 212 in that neighborhood, and I think this game stays under that number. But if not, then I like the points. Taking Orlando in the points in this game. So that particular matchup, I like to go that way. The Atlanta game with Toronto, I'm going to stay away from that game. But I do like the game to go over that total. And my number says 234, and I think that number is right now at 226. So I kind of like that one. And then I did notice that in the which game was it? That was the Cleveland game, wherever that, or not the Cleveland game, the Miami game. There's some reverse line movement on Miami there, so I kind of like that one. But I stayed away because it looks to me like there's two guys on the starting rotation for Miami tonight that are game time decisions, and that's Kyle Lowry and PJ Tucker. So I don't want to go there. So the other alternatives, and these are the other two plays that I did make. So I went ahead and San Antonio plays Denver tonight, and you and I both talk about how we like San Antonio in these spots where they're plus 8.5, plus 9. But I like this better. The line opened, I think it was 236 on the total. It's down to 234, but my number is closer to 245, 246. So I like this game to go over the number. Both of these teams have been playing, especially Denver. They've been playing some really, really bad defense. And they've both been really scoring a lot. So San Antonio has been one of the best teams in the last 2 weeks of all of the NBA. So I'm going to stay off of it because I think that's kind of trendy, even though the number's moving the wrong way for me. I think if people are betting on San Antonio, the number should come down, but the number's going the other way. So I do like that game to go over the number. And Memphis and Utah, I just can't stay off of them. I got to take Memphis today. So I'm taking Memphis, and it looked like I could get 6. So that's what I got. I got 6. I know there's 5.5s out there, but I took the Memphis number plus 6. So I got 3 plays today, which is Oklahoma City minus 3.5, Denver and San Antonio over the 234. And I got Memphis and Utah, and I took Memphis plus the 6.
Also, I made a promise to TJ Horrego I have to give a shout out to the Stonehill Skyhawks, who are now moving into the Division One as they transition into what division is it? He gave it to me. They're moving into Division One. 2022-23. A funny story is when I was at Bridgewater State, we played a tournament versus Stonehill, and it was a great campus, great basketball as they whooped us by 30. But hats off to Stonehill as they move into the D3 they move into D1 2022-2023. Hockey, strange board. It really is. Um, there was a couple games I talked about this morning. I'm not getting the moves that I expected, but just going down what I do see. You do have a rematch with the Rangers and the Devils. Rangers opened at 165, now 137. I think I'm getting into that spot where I think you can take the Rangers. I do have a 135 at Westgate, so a small lean to the Rangers. Rotation number 31, Rangers 705 start, minus 135 at the Devils. Staying away from Pittsburgh, Colorado. They opened at 120, now 110. Minnesota was one that caught my eyes this morning. They opened up as the favorite, receiving 56% of the bets, but 57% of the money coming in on Nashville. It's now basically a pick 'em at 105, 105. I do slightly lean the Wild there, rotation number 41. This morning, I had a lean on Dallas, rotation number 43, 44 against the Islanders. They opened up at 140. I'm going to stay away from that. 54% of the bets, 78% of the money coming in on Dallas there, down to 128. Islanders hit or miss. I think Dallas squeaks this one out. So that was that one. And the one I talked about, and I talked about it with B2B during our Masters show. He'll be at the Florida game. They opened up at minus 170 against Toronto, who just whooped on Tampa. Now they got to play Florida. You guys know what I feel about opening lines, trusting them. It's down to 159. I can't give out a 159, a 160, or a 170. I am going to tiptoe into the puck line. You can get Florida puck line tonight, plus 135. The under-over is 7. So unless that lands 4-3 in overtime, you got a good possibility of getting hopefully 4 or 5 goals from Florida. So I guess for tonight, what I would suggest to people is rotation number 34, Florida puck line, plus 135 minus the goal and a half. If you guys are doing parlays tonight, use Florida in your money line at minus 160 there. I do lean Minnesota, minus 105 at Nashville. That was number 2. And number 3, rotation number 31, the Rangers, currently right now minus 135 at the Devils. Scotty, is there words of wisdom today?
We have them today.
All right. Let me pull you up, my brother. Move that. Webby, words of wisdom.
Well, today it's about success, and a lot of times, it's we need to figure out what it means to each one of us because a lot of it's different. But there are some common ground, and that's what we're going to talk about today: is the common ground of success for all of us. And even though success has characteristics that are different or unique to different people, what I think success is may not be what it is to what you think it is. So. However, we can all agree on this. I think it's vital. It's important. So don't give up. And it's winning. I mean, if you just think about what success is, it can be all 3 of those things. It's vital, it's important, and it's winning. Don't give up. It's your duty. And I think that that's a great phrase because if you make it an obligation to be successful and it's your duty to be successful, I think then the first part of it kind of takes its own accord. So it's your duty, it's your obligation to be successful. It's gives your life purpose, and it gives your then life a direction to go. And it's your responsibility to stay in the continued pursuit of success. And I think that's what's important too, is, a lot of times people think of success as something that they want to go try to achieve, but it's not. It's a lifetime pursuit. You just keep going after it. And what you really have to realize is the last part of this is that there's no shortage of success. It's not a product. You don't go buy it and then it runs out. It's You can have as much of it as you want. It's something you create. You don't acquire it. It's limitless. Therefore, there is no shortage. Think without limits. And then if you apply that to the sports world and the sports arena that we're in, I think it's very similar because, again, success means different things to different people. What Jeff does and he's successful is different maybe than what I do. Or maybe it's different than what these guys that you see on Twitter all the time or the famous guys do. But I think that, in fact, you're going to find that if you don't think success is vital and it's important, you're going to go broke in this business because you're going to make a lot of unsuccessful wagers and you're going to do a lot of unsuccessful things and you're not going to have any money. So it is maybe the most important characteristic is to make sure that it's important. And then secondly, again, it's your duty. You need to go make things happen. Don't wait for things to happen. It's your obligation to act. It's your obligation to learn. It's your duty to have good thoughts and always be in pursuit of success. And then lastly, there is no shortage of success. So you can win at whatever game you're playing. You can win this week. You can win multiple times this week. You can win multiple times next week. So I like to think of it in terms of characteristics of success, even though it does mean different things to different people. But if you focus on those few attributes, I think you'll do just fine.
I just was reading Hector Gomez at HGomez27 on Twitter. Source: the Padres are showing a lot of interest in making a trade with the Guardians to get star third baseman Jose Ramirez before the opening day deadline. Now, Hector has himself quite a following. He's at around 90,000, so take it with a grain of salt, I guess. You got Manny at third. Let's play the game for a second. If they made that trade, who would be playing short and who would be playing third?
Well, Tatis is going to be their shortstop, but he's not going to be their shortstop to start. I mean, their shortstop to start off is it's going to be the guy they got from Korea. He's the Kim, whatever his first name is. That's going to be the shortstop for now. But it's one of those scenarios here where I think that as you look at this and you kind of go forward, they've got room. The bigger problem is that as they have room, they're going to have to make some choices. They have Jurickson Profar that they need to figure out what they're going to do with him. They got Eric Hosmer that they don't like, and they got Will Myers that they don't like. Now they don't like. It's not that they don't like them; they don't like the contracts they got. So it all depends on kind of how all this flows out because the shortstop's going to be Tatis. It doesn't matter. And I think the third baseman will be Machado. I mean, that's what it's going to be. Now, having said that, it wouldn't totally surprise me if they decide that, Tatis is getting hurt too much and they want to put him in the outfield. That wouldn't surprise me, but I don't think that would be necessarily their best move. They have a guy named CJ Abrams, and he's a prospect, but he's really good. And they've been putting him in right field now, because he's normally a second baseman, and he can't. He's blocked because Cronenworth's there. But this kid's really good. They got to find a way to get him to play. And I don't think this is that this is going to work. They got too many weird things happening there and too many other pieces that they're going to have to move around. maybe that's the whole design. Maybe the whole design is to bring him over there and then say, okay, we got to get rid of, Hosmer and Myers and figure out, where everybody else fits after that. But, they got a little bit of a problem there.
Well, I mean, hypothetically, there's been a lot of chatter on Twitter. Padre Twitter is, the safest move is to get Tatis out in center field. The only thing he can crash into, obviously, is the wall, and to try to save his shoulder or whatever. But hypothetically, Scott, if this was the plan, and listen, there's going to be a lot of people coming in trying to steal Ramirez. I mean, the Jays were just talking about it because the extension that the Guardians are offering is just, it's laughable. I mean, there's no way in hell he'll take that extension. So a short term to see how it works. I mean, I would assume Manny could go back to short, and then you could put Jose at third if that ever happened.
Could. Now, Jose can play second base too. So he can play second, he can play third. He can't play shortstop, but he can play second, he can play third. And he's played second before they moved him to third base. That's where his position was. So the other thing that I will tell you about Jose Ramirez, that there's some underlying things happening right here in Tampa that that kind of indicates that they got a pretty good interest in Jose Ramirez too. Who wouldn't be interested in Jose Ramirez for whatever that means? But it just also depends on how you want to pay and how you want to do things. And if the Guardians are a team that can't pay him for whatever reason, believe it or not, the Rays were second on the Freddie Freeman stuff. In terms of the amount of money that they were paying out for Freddie Freeman. So if they're willing to go out there for Freddie Freeman like that, I think they would be willing to go out there and go get Ramirez too. And if they did that, that would change the dynamics of this team a lot.
I can't wait. We got 2 days till we blast off. Moving forward, tomorrow morning, myself and Scott will be here for the Breakfast Bankroll. And at 1:00 Eastern time, we'll take our weekly trip across the border with Andrew McGinnis at Wager Talk, talking hockey. And then myself and Scott will be back for the closing bell on Thursday morning. Get your peanuts, popcorn, and your cup of Joe. We'll be breaking down the whole Major League card. So there's 9 or 10 games on the board. We'll be checking weather and wind and all that good stuff, getting you ready for opening day. There will be no closing bell Thursday night. I will be at the Garden for the NCAA Frozen Four, checking out some hockey games there. And then Friday, myself and Scott will either be back for the Breakfast Bankroll or we will be heading to the Windy City with Colton. And we're not sure what's going on yet, so we'll keep you updated there as well. So always remember this, people. If you are wagering or investing tonight, do it responsibly. If you have a problem, pick up the phone. There's an 800 number available. Ask for help. Why? Myself and Scotty care. We want to see you here today, tomorrow, next week, next month, through 2022 and beyond. From myself, Jeff Dawson at EC Sports Invest, from Scotty Webb at Webby20 MLB. We wish everyone a blessed evening. Have some fun, cash some tickets, and we'll see you bright and early tomorrow morning.